Hi, I've recalibrated this excellence meter. Before I had used it to measure the excellence of treats and desserts, and I wanted to be able to experiment with some savory foods too. So let me just okay. So I've selected 5 meatloaf dinners, and I'm going to be testing those over the next few days. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing them all at once because I want to eat them. There's like $25 worth of food here, so I'll be preparing the meal, sectioning off a little piece of it, a little piece of meatloaf, a little dab of mashed potatoes, I think. And it looks like some of them have corn and applesauce too. So I'll be doing that on camera and showing you the results on a separate. I have to zoom in, so I'm going to have 2 cameras, one on this little meter here that'll show how excellent it is. So then we'll know for sure which brand provides the best meatloaf scientifically. So let's just get started. I think I'll choose smart ones first. And just to give you a survey, if you have never seen this before, this is a little device that I turned this on my lathe. This is a little device that has some bioactive probes on it that spin around and test the chemical properties of the thing being tested. This is a circuit board that I've configured to measure this stuff. Let's see if I can. Let me turn it on there. There you see. There's some lights that indicate power. So I'll be using this, and then of course this is the gauge that shows how good it is. And let me see if I can just run a test here. It'll be a blank test, but there, that little light goes on. So that's what's going to happen. In a moment here, I'll pull back and show you the process of testing the food. All right, here we go. This is my scientific testing fork. I'm just going to do a little bit. Of food. Maybe a little bit of this gravy too. Brown sauce, let's call it. Oh, that looks delicious. All right, let's zoom in. Just a note, I've only been able to configure this one to spin because this one picks up too much of the sugars. So this is the savory one. This one shudders a little bit, but this is doing the most of the testing. So here we go. Just position it just right. think that got enough of it.
Just a short summary before I continue on for an exciting announcement to point out that Stouffer's, in fact, did win by 10 excellence points. And Smart Ones was at the very bottom, considerably in the bottom. And this was, in my experience also, I have to say that the excellence meter excelled in its analysis. I would agree with all of these, except for, I'd say, Yellowstone. I believe that it ranked a little higher because the barbecue sauce perhaps skewed the results a little bit, because when I tasted it, the meat was a bit too firm compared to Stouffer's or Lean Cuisine, which was perfect, and the mashed potatoes in those meals was delicious too. So take this for what it's worth. It's just my excellence meter and these meals, but I did try to be as scientific as possible. So,
I also wanted to share the good news about the acceptance of one of my articles in the Journal of Treat Science. You see my name is right here. There it is. And this is volume 31 of the March 2025 edition. Let's just take a look here. I'll zoom in. The contents show that there are several other articles by esteemed scientists. A.J. Featherstone, one of the top scientists of treat science. Oh yeah, you'll see here. This is the date of publication. So in here, I'll just read the titles of all these, and you can. This is available on Lulu.com. So the first one here is by H. Percival Worthington, FCS, "The Influence of Saccharine Substances Upon the Integrity of Galvanized Steel," which is a very important study because of this. I'm sticking this into sugar a lot, and we want to make sure that this doesn't get corroded too much. So this was very instructive information. Obviously, it comes out after my experiments, but I read through this, and he brought up some very important details about the influence of sugar on steel. And he studied treacle tart, raspberry fool, plum pudding, sugar-coated almonds, Turkish delight, and toffee. So covered a lot of the desserts that we eat and test. There's an interesting table here. Looks like it takes 5 weeks for the visible effect of a slight discoloration on steel from raspberry fool. So you can look through here, and on page 10 is The Hierarchy of Sweetness, a philosophical treatise on the ethical judgment of desserts by Michael E. Fuchs. And this isn't just obviously material science, this is also the science of the mind. So philosophy is included in this journal. The Art and Science of the Dessert Superiority Apparatus, a treatise on the specialized gear set for comparative confectionery analysis by Professor Ellison B. Hayworth in Montreal. So this discusses a specialized gear set, which over here, I use a variation of that in my device, but this is very in detail discussion of the gear set. The primary gear, or the actuator gear, measures precisely 12 inches in diameter and possesses 144 teeth. Configuration dictated by the necessity of smooth engagement with secondary gears. So it goes into all that stuff. The next one is 8 inches with 96 teeth, which is different from mine. But mine actually it's just an amateur version. So, okay, here's mine. And this is called Liliana.
a discussion regarding the invention of a device which measures the variety of qualia, which that's what that is. So I decided instead of going ahead and discussing my specific device, I thought it'd be more interesting to create a sort of a dialogue, sort of like a platonic dialogue, which is why I chose that name, because there's two characters. One is named Lillian, and the other one is Omar, and so they have a discussion about the ethics of doing it, and some of Omar discusses a little bit of what I'm doing here, but this is more of an idea piece that discusses the issues surrounding it. So let's say Lillian says, I'm struggling to envision how you could translate qualia to mechanical movement, which is something that was brought up in the last video. What exactly do you mean by algorithm? So to put it in more concrete context, the apprehension engine would be like a triangular lattice, like the rose lattice in a garden. Yes, but instead of nailing it together, it's pinned at each node. And then imagine there are bars attached to the top and bottom, which are attached to the house. I can imagine that. If I pushed one side of the lattice, the other side would shift according to my direction. Yes. Now, suppose we could make each little section of that lattice a different stiffness, so that they react differently to the forces acted upon them. When we apply pressure to several nodes on one side, a shape would appear on the other. Suppose we stood on either side. Suppose we stood on either side of that lattice, and you pushed a single node. The action would transfer through all the nodes connected to it, and inevitably make a change on my side. So that's describing a mechanical algorithm, which is what I've devised over here in my machine. So this goes on and on and on. Two people talking, and you're free to go to lulu.com and purchase this. It's available through the Society of Scientific Treat Research, SSTR. And there's their interesting logo. See, the snake has two heads, so there's two S's, and then the T is a balance scale, which symbolizes science, and R is the RX symbol of medicine. So they encompass all these things. So this is the publication of the SSTR, and this is their manifesto kind of. Let me finish this up. Tempest Helena Yole wrote The Hegelian Morality and Dialectic of Sweet Snacks, a philosophical inquiry. So this is another one. And what she does is discusses Hegel's view of it, and also surveys what the contemporaries would have thought regarding sweet science. So we look at Kant and Schopenhauer and Fichte. I don't know how you pronounce. Is it Fichte? Fichte. So yeah, there's that, and I think this is the last one. They saved the best for last by A.J. Featherstone, FRS, one of my favorite researchers. An inquiry into the structure and qualitative properties of cake crumb. A comparative analysis of 5 varieties. So he goes into great depth, and this is sort of what I used in the criteria for my first iteration of this machine. All the diagrams. This is tables. He's done this before, but for other elements of cake design. So these were instrumental in helping me design my machine. So he takes a look at Victoria sponge, Genoese, pound cake, chiffon, and angel food. So covering the variety of grain size or crumb size in each kind of cake. And one of the reasons I love A.J. Featherstone is because he has an affinity for naan, so he includes naan in everything, whether it has anything to do with sweet science or not. He has to slip it in there. So, oh, this is the last one. Lisbeth Herefine, I think is how you pronounce it, PhD. A Sweet Prelude, a Civilized Discourse on the Primacy of Dessert. So we go into, this is an interesting way to end it, because it's focuses in on English dining and looks at the different areas of England and how let me see, the ways of the English table are as varied as the rolling hills of Yorkshire and the bustling thoroughfares of London. Each county has long established its own predilections, some quaint, others exemplary. In examining the customs of 4 distinct regions, Yorkshire, Kent, Lancashire, and Devon, we may observe the underpinnings of a sweetly civilized repast. So she goes into, she kind of surveys what people eat in each one of these things, and areas, and how they differ from each other, and also compares it to antiquity and the Middle Ages. So we go into the ancient Greek from Aristippus and the Rhodes School, Pericles, and then looking at the banquets of Eleanor of Aquitaine and Venice in the 13th century. So the 1200s of Venice, and also York Minster in the Middle Ages. So that's a very interesting. Oh, I forgot about Jacob Brown. Yeah, a treatise on the quantification of sweetness, a mathematical and philosophical investigation. This was interesting because he kind of integrated formulas with philosophy. It goes into great depth. The harmonics of taste, altered states, how sugar induces altered states, and then the formulas of sweetness. And I'm sure you're familiar with all these, especially the textural enjoyment index, which everybody uses, and mouthfeel resonance function, pistachio revelation theory, which is new. It's kind of controversial. It discusses, how pistachio paste induces hallucinogenic states. So that's the end. And here's their little. Well, let me just read it here. The Journal of Treat Science is the official publication of the Society of Scientific Treat Research, dedicated to the detailed and quantified exploration and classification of snacks, desserts, and sweet meals, and the cultural and spiritual impact of consuming foods which elicit states of gustatory pleasure derived from tasting sugar. So, obviously, I won't be introducing my study of meatloaf into this journal, but I felt like it was important to cover all the taste fields. So, thank you for watching this video.